Hello and welcome to the Wednesday check-in here on Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is April 2nd, 2025. And, well, we talked about this on Monday when we actually started the second quarter of the year. And, of course, we were, on the 31st, but the candle of the 1st was already open for April. And, we have April 2nd here in the United States was dubbed Liberation Day, and it was all about tariffs. And we saw the market rally to resistance again and reject really hard. It actually was rallying into a speech that was being given by Trump. So, as well, right around when Trump started to speak, the market dumped off. And this is pretty consistent with moving from expansion to compression. Now, we could have seen if, of course, price closed above the upper second and the overhead resistance that was just rejected for Bitcoin right here at around that 88,700. In this case, we have this post prior range expansion up. This first bear candle close open of the expansion here has been pretty pivotal for holding price up. Of course, we saw this higher low coming off of this area. We have another area of interest on the next big higher low of this range up here of the first move up, where we were kind of seeing support kind of come in between this higher low swing, which was that close open right at 88,700. We saw a lot of dips in here once it started to break down on the close right here. What happened? Price dumped off to 78, rallied up to where the compression to the most recent expansion occurred, rejected, made a new lower low, and now we're getting that compression. Nice rally to resistance. And unfortunately for many that were bidding right there at resistance, a lot of longs came into the market. And, well, they've been liberated of their position. So now we await shorts to start coming in and short support, and we'll see where that occurs. We did have a nice low. Now, granted, this is a lower low here that was just put in prior to this rally up to resistance. So we'll see what happens. Pretty easy. Kind of trendless structure right now. We have a higher high to lower low, and now we do have a lower high swing, not a lower high close. So what does this point to? Either we drop this most recent low at 81. This is going to be 81,200 or so. What's going on? Why is this it looks a little bit different. Well, I thought it was it's like 81,265. There we go. So if we do see 81,265 dropped, look to that lower second standard deviation at $81,000. Even any lower term time frame closes under there, can we see some around the $80,000 region, upper $79,000 region by this swing? Sure, but realistically, we're probably going to be back testing this low side structure and possibly lower, as I mentioned on Monday. Now, on the flip side of that, if we do see this consolidation and even the low hold up, just pay attention. We've now seen a couple of rejections off of this key level overhead. You can call it 88,700. You can call it $89,000 at the higher low that we've been talking about, the previous weekly higher low at that. On the daily, it's this wick over here from Monday, January 13th. That was also the weekly higher low swing. Of course, there is the weekly higher low close at 93.5, but realistically, I'm bearish below the twin tower candles here, the retest of the compression. Bitcoin's got to, the bulls have to, shit or get off the pot. They got to recover and start making some headway above right around that $89,000 region. Test this high over here at 92.8 and then try to gun for a recovery above $95,000 there. That would look good, especially if we saw not just daily closures, but weekly closures above there. That would look pretty good for the bulls. And start to paint the picture that we could potentially see some structural changes occurring, not just on the daily, but possibly some higher term time frames, with a previous higher low reclaim from the weekly. So we've talked about this quite a bit. That would be this close open up here at 93.5, or just slightly above there at 93,563 on Coinbase spot. So we do need to see that area recovered. And of course, the daily is going to be important for that $95,000 area as a pivot for price and major rejection. So we'll get some arrows back on here. But let's go ahead and turn on. So, I mean, we're in a possible trend reversal setup. So we had this little bit of an uptrend to retest overhead resistance, got the rejection, a lower low, got another rejection off there. Pretty bearish. But again, it's below, the lower second, 81,000. We're looking for 80. And that's right in that area that we've already been talking about, where this low came in just above 81 at between 80 and 82, anywhere below there. And realistically, anywhere below the wick over here at $85,000. Pretty bearish. We see that the basis band is at 84.5. Bitcoin, kind of hugging the lower first standard deviation here of the Bollinger Bands, but true expansion into the downside support area here, possibly further, would start to show itself on closes, especially below on the daily $81,000. And we're likely looking at the lows getting tested and then possibly lower to test the last year's big consolidation on the high side that we discussed on Monday. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few other things here. RSI shows that second bullish divergence. I'd like to see a third. There's some that are going to say like there's more than three. They're going to count this one, this guy, and this guy, and say it's four total. We have three total. I'd like to see even another one. Let's take a look at RSI for some areas of interest. Midline is at 85,364 right here at the 50 read. Edge of the bullish control zone is going to come in at 93,241. So just below that higher low weekly, the last big higher low on a weekly closing basis at 93.5. That would be the daily edge of the bullish control zone as it stands right now. Edge of the bearish control zone down here is coming in at 79,300. So basically a test of the lows. If we do see RSI starting to get there, at least for this Thursday session. Now, of course, it's Wednesday for me still. Thursday session is open. And I'll talk to you again, of course, on Friday after the close, in which case the Saturday session will be open. But I will have the wrap up for you on Friday. Don't leave just yet, though. Let's look at a few other things. We have a momentum oscillator here, and this is the regular Stoch, not a Stoch RSI. We just looked at RSI, so we don't really need a Stoch RSI. For momentum, we're using a regular Stoch, which is measuring close over close price momentum. In this case, the pivot is at 83.3, still headed down. Where's Bitcoin trading right now? Just below 80, just above 83, but just below the pivot at 83,200 or so right now. So, if Bitcoin holds the lows on the daily, it could start to shift momentum, but we need to see conditions met very clearly just above the 88, 7 to 8 region here, and especially $89,000. Not only would that shift momentum, if it can hold the lows, then we might start to entertain a possible range recovery on the bottom side here, and at least try for the weekly and this daily area, this important daily area at 92.8, and then try to gun for that 95 or just over $95,000 area. That would look pretty good. Let's put some things into context on some longer term timeframes than the daily here. Let's actually take a look at the 2-day. We just closed this 2-day. We are in a full-on compression. Ran the upper first to the lower second, the last 2-day session. This is a pretty nasty candle to paint a low. We got to get above that. We essentially have to get above 88,700. Could you take the 88,500? Sure, but that doesn't do much without getting a break of this important overhead resistance. So you call it 88.7, 89K. that would do it. That would also put price above the upper first standard deviation here for the 2-day. And this would, on the 2-day, be a higher low if it did that. So essentially, if it can set a higher low here, which you might get signals on any 2-day closes above around $84,000, that would be your higher low that doesn't do too much. But if it could push up and take out this last lower high at the $88,800 to $89,000 area, then we do have a trend reversal in the making on the 2-day. Now again, if it drops the low here at 81,265 or whatever it is here, we're looking at the lows getting tested again by that lower second, which is right around $80,000, slightly below there right now. To be fair, any closes below there, we're either already testing the lows or will test the lows later in an expansion phase. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to expand down to hit some of the high side structure over here. That's not really well shown there when I just scrolled over like that. But either way, not that, we would need to see close below the lower second that also close below the lows here. And then if we haven't already seen that prior accumulation range high area getting tested from last year, then we will likely see it later. So that would be where the 2-day is. Now, of course, we have at the end of the Friday session, this will be closed. So we'll follow up with the 2-day. Let's actually take a look at the 3-day here. 3-day is going to close with today's Thursday candle, basis band right there, rallied right to it, tapped on it, pulled away. Same kind of deal. It has a chance to put in a higher low relative to this last lower low on a close at 78.5, 78,550, and that swing at 76,555. Has a chance to do it above right around 88.8, $89,000 right by that basis band. That would be a higher low to lower high break. That would look, same kind of look as the 2-day time frame. Not quite as compressed, but painting a range. And in fact, $76,000 would be your alert of a possible sweep of this low at 76,555. And maybe a bounce from there, because this is still pretty wide set for bands, and still not indicating that it's ready for a compression to re-expansion. That also means that right back here to the upside by the upper first at $95,000. Hey, we've heard that number before. On the daily, that is where I am bearish below. Well, we see the upper first there, and the bands are angled down. More setup for rejection if we did see, the basis recovered here. I mean, other than that, this could just be another lower high retest, and then we get continuation below that 81,265 to test the lows, lower second, maybe more. Worst case scenario from this actual 3-day, as it stands right now, and we will get more movement down if Bitcoin closes this 3-day, anything like this, maybe the lower second, moves down to like 75K, so mid $70,000 region. Lower third maybe right down to $69,000. We know where that is. That's the prior cycle high. That would, of course, beget a test into the top side of this range over here, specifically the higher highs up here, or the higher high and then subsequent lower high up there. So that could be a possibility. Likely would provide for a nice bounce too. So it depends on what kind of trader you are. If you're willing to take that, or if you just take the short into it and close it, if that presents an opportunity for you. I mean, I've been pretty clear about when I shorted, and I'm still in this short. Yes, I have not closed this short. I did refill it in the compression here, specifically on the rejection, because it didn't even make it to 100K, and didn't even make it to this wick right here. During this consolidation, this wick was coming in just over $100,000. When it failed there, I refilled some of the profits that I was taking during the consolidation, but I shorted the lower high. This was well established. Lower low swing, equal low close to a lower high. I was very short in that area, just post all-time high. There was other signals and reasons why, if you were watching my videos at the time, for why I was looking at that as a bearish setup. If it did not start closing back above, specifically the close open all-time high, because we had a double top on a close open at 106, or just over $106,000. We had that double top on the close opens. Needed to see close above there, didn't get it, rejected, went short. I still have that short open. And quite frankly, longs have been longing their longs, and they are paying for all of the fees on those positions. So thank you. Keep it up. allows me to get some more cheaper sats. As I did take some profits, of course. It's been a little while, but I took some profits on the 80K spike. I got a little antsy the other day and was thinking like maybe if it can recover, I'll close it. And guess what? It rejected, so I'm still in it. So, and then of course just lower term time frame trading, which is intraday trading, scalp trading, stuff like that. But major positions still. It's got a ways to go to take somebody like me out, and longs are longing the shit out of this thing. So I do appreciate that. Allows people like me to continue to reap the benefit of short pay long. So, all right, enough gloating on that end. Look, I did want to give you a little bit of insight into kind of what I think. Bearish below 95, essentially, for longer term time frames. Shorter term time frames might present some opportunity here as I just quickly look at the market. What stands out to me is ETH right back at that major support, and even dipped under a little earlier under that 1800. Just as a note for this one, if it can hold this low, it's got a lower high pretty much right in place after yesterday, or I guess still today for me, but yesterday's session, or the Wednesday session, Tuesday into Wednesday session. Now it's got a lower high at 1956. So if it can take that out while holding the low here at around 1754, that would look pretty good. To at least test up further, big overhead resistance between 2100 and 2320 up here. The big weekly at 2300 even that it lost at a main support, macro support, needs to recover that. Anywhere below here, I am bearish. Anywhere below 2320, I'm pretty intensely bearish. And same thing applies as on Bitcoin. I'm still bearish even below 25,551. So when looking at Sol is plumbing the low again here, right on a major weekly support that's inside of a wider macro support here between that 125 and 120, kind of dipped below. Not really doing much, obviously. Any closes below that 112 there, we're looking at 98 to $100 pretty quickly. But again, would have to close below the lower second and close. If it didn't already swing this low, it would have to swing this low and then close below it at 112. Then we could entertain expansion down into that 98 to $100. If it got continuation from there, then there's the $80. And it's not necessarily a foregone conclusion for any of this stuff right now. We have to see how the rest of the week plays out into the Friday session, and maybe even over the weekend. Needs to take out 147 here. That would look better. This is a lower high swing. Would look okay above 136, but really needs to take out 147 to this swing high up here at 152.90. And then again, big macro support area up here at around 169, nice to 170. Needs to take out the twin tower candles at 180. So, everything's got work to do. It's still a bearish look. There's not been really anything enticing just yet to like close out shorts and go like swing long outside of like lower term time frame bounces. And since putting in like the high at 147, it hasn't been very attractive even for the scalps, other than maybe some really low term time frame shorts maybe, but that's about it. That's going to do it for today. I don't really have too much more for you. We could reference maybe one more thing here. And what could that one more thing be? Just the local support and resistance zones, just to remind those who might not watch all of the videos. The big downside zone, that swing at 78,100 or so to the actual low at 76,555. Price is just kind of consolidating above there. Even if it gets expansion into that initial support zone down below, anywhere below there, we're looking for expansion down to 73,835. We see $69,000 there from the prior cycle. You can, and if I start to see it break down, I'll post some charts and then do a video, of course, at the normal time on Friday. But then we can start refining targets for maybe dailies in here, and select some of the levels on the weeklies that might assist for some trading on the lower term timeframes than the weeklies. But it's a big zone. 65. Remember, we have the monthly basis in there. So right at the first top from 2021. And then, of course, 69 is that upper first from the quarterly. So, we've got, at least I think I'm saying that right without checking. But it's in Monday's video. It's pretty simple stuff. I'll update if this changes and starts to break this little consolidation range to the downside or even the upside. In which case, we've got the 1.168 or 16.8% above the prior cycle high to low run, $69,000, 15.5. So, final thoughts. Above 85, good. I would put Bitcoin back above the basis. Doesn't do much below really 88.7, 88.8. You can call it 89 if you want. The downside, you start seeing 81 dropped. Danger, danger, danger. It's dropping this low. Looking 80K, some of the swings in here. But it starts to close anywhere below there on the daily. If it's not already swung the low side structure here, it most likely will. So that's going to be it for today. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. And I'll talk to you again on Friday for the Friday wrap up. With all of that said, 90 out. Take care.